Breaking news, these 7 people all charged with murdering a 20-year-old mother from Jasper. Someone found Mahogany Jackson's body on Monday in Birmingham after she had texted a family member that she had been kidnapped.
Our Bria Chapman was at a press conference held by Birmingham police this evening. The chief not mincing his words when discussing this case.
Scott Thurman describing the murder of Mahogany Jackson as disgusting and one of the most heinous crimes that he's seen throughout his career. And not only was Jackson shot and killed, she was also sexually assaulted by multiple people. Now there are 7 people under arrest facing charges for felony and capital murder and also kidnapping. And Chief Thurman says all of the suspects were acquaintances of the victim. And not only was she tortured to death, some of these horrific acts were recorded by those suspects.
Facts of this case are deplorable and sickening. Saddest of all, they were made public by the suspect's decision to videotape portions of this horrific act. We hope to shield Mahogany's family and friends by withholding specific facts surrounding the investigation. However, we have determined that Mahogany was a victim of sexual assault with murder and kidnapping. There's videos of some of these heinous acts taking place. And that's something that was a pivotal piece of the investigation.
All right, guys, so we got to talk about probably one of the most disturbing and heinous stories that I have ever covered on this channel. And I hope that I never have to cover a story like this again. But I need to cover it because it's not getting national news attention. Quite honestly, this should be the #1 story in the country right now that we're talking about, because it's not every day that you see a modern day lynching, okay? But we are seeing what is a modern day lynching. However, again, mysteriously, the liberal media and the race hustlers aren't talking about it. Well, we know why they're not talking about it, because it doesn't fit the narrative, okay? Even though they claim that we should be concerned about lynchings happening in this country, except when the lynchings do happen, they're not by the suspects that they tell us are prone to lynching black people, okay? As we got to talk about the case of Miss Mahogany Jackson, who was lynched by a mob of her friends who happened to be black. And I want to go ahead and play a news clip of this story so that you guys can get a better understanding of what happened here, and we're going to talk about it. But before we get into it, we have to have a word from the sponsor of this video, Noble Gold. Have you guys taken a good look at the banks lately? Now, on the surface, everything may seem fine, but there's a whole lot more going on underneath. It's like looking under the hood of a car and finding a mess of broken wires and parts. The parts are loans for homes, cars, and the credit cards that we use. They're all hitting record highs. It's really scary when you think about it. Why risk your money for a tiny 5% when things are so shaky? This is where Noble Gold can help. They're like that friend that knows all about how to keep money safe. They suggest gold and silver, oldies but goodies in the finance world. Plus, they've got a sweet deal, a 1/4 ounce gold standard coin this month if you qualify. That sounds pretty cool, right? If you're curious, just give them a call at 877-646-5347. That is 877-646-5347. And don't worry, it's just a chat, no pressure. They will help you figure out if gold and silver are right for you. Or you can visit noblegoldinvestments.com and take the first step towards a safer, more secure financial future. And just remember, there's a risk with every investment, and there's no guarantee of any kind.
Right now on the 4, the more information we learn about the disturbing kidnapping and murder of Mahogany Jackson, the harder it is and more awful it is to hear.
Some of those suspects accused in her killing making an appearance in court today. Bria Chapman joins us now live with the latest. And Bria, the details that you heard today in court are disturbing and heartbreaking.
Yeah, Morgan, that is right. This case is beyond disturbing, and it was an emotional day in court. Now, one of the saddest details I learned today is that Mahogany Jackson came to the first location thinking these people were her friends. Investigators say they then tortured her, and the things that were described are why Judge Keisha Davis says she denied all of these suspects a bond. Now, Birmingham Police Homicide Detective Mark Green says the first stop was the home of suspect Brandon Pope. Now, that's where Jackson was beaten outside while she was naked. Officers say some of the suspects beat her while others recorded the beatings. Now, Jackson was stomped and kicked, and then prosecutors say one of the suspects can be heard saying, "Put her in the trunk," and then she was dragged naked in the street. Now, Jackson was taken to a second location, and I want to warn you, this will be hard to hear. Prosecutors say Jackson was sexually assaulted at gunpoint. Officials say she was handcuffed, beaten, pistol whipped, and then spat on. Now, Jackson's family includes...
Wow, that is rough. That's actually extremely rough. Now, again, this is a 20-year-old mother that this happened to. This was a lynching. This was an actual lynching. It's an actual lynching. But yet, we're not talking about it. We're not having a national conversation about this. This is one of the most heinous stories I've ever heard in my life. One of the most brutal stories that I've ever heard in my life. It is extremely difficult for me right now to hold back the emotions that I'm feeling. And I don't even know this woman. I don't know this woman, but honestly, it's sickening. It really is. And my thoughts and prayers are with the family. I mean, this is horrible. This is one of the most horrible stories that I've ever heard in my life. I'm speechless. I mean, I really don't know what to say. Now, I've looked into some possible motives, okay? Some people are saying it has something to do with money, a cell phone. We really don't know the exact motives, but regardless, I mean, I can't imagine what could motivate a group of individuals to do something like this to a 20-year-old mother. And what pisses me off the most is the lack of coverage over this situation. But let's continue here before I really get into it.
Including her mother, were present in court today, and as they read out the evidence, you could hear them getting very emotional. DA Danny Carr says, though, this will be a long road to get justice for Mahogany, and he also explains why only 5 out of the 8 suspects were present today for the Anais Law hearing.
The individuals that are charged with capital murder, obviously, the law, the statute and the rules of criminal procedure says that their bond can be set at a no bond automatically. The individuals that are charged with felony murder, the statute requires a hearing. The next step, obviously, is there'll be further investigation with Birmingham Police Department.
Yeah, another sad thing we learned today was that the suspects wanted the password to Mahogany Jackson's phone. Officials say they even told her if she gave it to them, they would let her go, only to kill her anyway. Now, live at 5, you'll hear what District Attorney Danny Carr says he told the family today. Morgan?
Yeah. So you seen that, you heard that. Again, this is an extremely difficult story to talk about because of the nature of the allegations against these individuals. You can't even describe in words some of the things that these people allegedly did to this young mother without being completely disgusted. Okay. I mean, these individuals, it's a good thing that Alabama has capital punishment. Okay. So, hopefully these individuals are punished to the fullest extent of the law if they are in fact found guilty. They recorded themselves doing it. So, hopefully this is swift. Okay. Hopefully we don't waste too many taxpayer dollars on this case. If the evidence is clear that they committed this heinous crime, this heinous act, and we get this over and done with, right? But with that being said, like I told you guys, this is not being covered by CNN. It's not being covered by MSNBC. Where are the race hustlers? Where are Black Lives Matter? Where are the ambulance chasers? Where's Ben Crump? Where's Al Sharpton? Where is Protect Black Women? Where's the FBAs, right? The foundational Black Americans. Where you at? Where you at? Where are you at? Where's Black Lives Matter? Oh, they're nowhere to be found. Nowhere to be found. They're silent. Crickets on this. Ain't got nothing to say about it. But we all know if there was a group of 8 white people that did what these individuals allegedly did to this young mother, a Black young mother, 8 white individuals did that to a Black mother, the outrage in this country would be unimaginable. There would be George Floyd level outrage. And I know we kind of use that a lot, right? We say that a lot when, we talk about the hypocrisy of the mainstream liberal media and how they cover these stories. But this story right here, there's no doubt in my mind that this would have been a George Floyd level story in regards to outrage. It will be covered 24/7 on mainstream liberal media. And I don't want to hear anything from the race hustlers about, well, these people were arrested and they were caught and they're going to face. I don't want to hear that. Because even if they were white and they were arrested and caught and facing punishment, there would still be outrage. We'll be having conversations about how it's unsafe to be Black in this country, how you have to worry about being lynched by a white mob just because you're Black. That's what we'll be having a conversation about. But the real conversation we need to be having is about the dangers of being Black in this country, having to worry about other Black people. Because statistically speaking, that's who Black people should be worried about the most when it comes to who is most likely to commit some type of act of violence like this against you, right? But that's not the story they want to tell. They don't want to have that conversation. You want to talk about a hate crime? This to me seems like a hate crime, right? They should be demanding hate crime charges because we know if these individuals were white, they'll be protesting for hate crime charges. Why are there no protests for hate crime charges? This was a lynching. This was a lynching. Why are there no hate crime charge protests? Why are there none? Because I think there should be. But again, it shows you how the whole hate crime thing is just a political tool. Because what you have here, again, is a lynching. It will be called a lynching. We'll be talking about lynchings. We'll be having a conversation about lynchings, a national conversation about lynchings, if the race of the perpetrators would have fit the narrative. There was more outrage about Jason Aldean's song, Try That in a Small Town, where the woke race hustlers of America took the lyrics out of context and tried to say he was talking about lynching Black folks. There was more outrage about a song that they misinterpreted to be talking about lynching than there is about an actual lynching. Do you guys understand? There was more outrage about a song that they misinterpreted to be talking about lynching Black people than an actual lynching that was committed against a young Black mother. Because, the perpetrator was a Black, so therefore we're not even going to talk about it. We're going to ignore it. But we're gonna pretend to be outraged when a white man makes a song that we misinterpret to be talking about lynching. That's how you know if the suspects were white, this would have been the #1 story in this country. You would never hear the end of it. You would never hear the end of it. They found a way to blame the Republican Party. Conservatives are responsible. This is proof that America is systemically racist. Black people are in danger because of the white man. And again, what really sickens me is not just the mainstream liberal media and their lack of coverage, but against the race hustlers. Because Alabama, where these race hustlers were acting like brawl was the Super Bowl, okay? Because you had a group of Black people hop off a boat and beat up some white men who jumped a Black man on the dock, right? So a domestic dispute that they framed as some incidents of racism, even though I don't think there's any evidence that race had anything to do with it outside of the fact that you just so happen to have different groups of individuals who are fighting of different races, but they try to make it a racial thing. They're covering this story. They're celebrating this story like it's the Super Bowl. This is what they're doing. Non-stop coverage. Can't stop talking about it. But yet, when it comes to this black mother who was lynched and had all types of heinous acts done to her over a phone, crickets. They ain't got nothing to say. Nothing to say at all. In a town that, again, they'll remind us, they'll remind us, there was a lot of lynchings that took place of black folks, right? In Birmingham, Alabama. Got a lot of history in this town, right? They'll be quick to remind you of that when again, it's the white man. But when it's black folks lynching each other, we gonna turn the other way. We're not even gonna be concerned about it. And again, this is why I try to tell you guys, man. This is why black folks can't get ahead, because our priorities are in the wrong place. We give all the smoke and attention to the wrong stories, but the stories we should be paying attention to, these stories that make up a vast majority of the instances where black people are actually losing their lives, real dangers towards black people that black people face every day, statistically speaking, that are real dangers. Crickets. They don't want to deal with it. They don't want to deal with it. They don't want to have that conversation. They only want to have a conversation when they can boohoo, whine, and cry about the white man. But the white man ain't got nothing to do with this. The white man ain't got nothing to do with this, so therefore they're not interested. Because black lives don't matter to black folks. They don't. Black lives are only valuable to black people when a white man takes the black life. That's it. If a white man is not taking a black life, they don't give a damn. They could care less. It's just another black person dead to them. Only when they can make some money off of it. Only when they can boohoo, whine, and cry racism. Only when they can demonize the white man. That's the only time they will ever care about a black life. But then they'll come up here and tell you, I'm pro-black. BLM. FBA. They'll virtue signal at the top of their lungs about how much they love black folks. But you don't love black people. Because if you love black people, you would speak out about these issues that are actually really hurting black people and destroying black folks. So, let me know what you guys think. Rest in peace to Mahogany Jackson. My thoughts and prayers are with the family. This is a terrible, terrible, terrible story, and it should be getting national news attention. Unfortunately, because it's not getting national news attention, it's not getting the coverage that it deserves, but it definitely deserves more coverage because this is probably one of the most heinous acts, the most heinous crimes, the most heinous murders that I've ever covered on this channel. Let me know what you guys think. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Most importantly, share a black conservative perspective. Peace.